Hi guys, I hope you're having a great day. So today we read 2 Corinthians 2 through 3. And okay, 2 Corinthians 2 is like one of my favorite chapters in the Bible. It just shows so much of how we should be as Christians. So let's dive in. So in the first section, it's about forgiving sinners. And this can be a hard thing to read when people have done things to you in the past and it's hard to forgive. It's really hard to forgive, but it just shows the power of forgiveness. So it says in verse 7, so you should rather turn to forgive and comfort him, or maybe he be overwhelmed by excessive sorrow. It just shows the power of forgiveness in people's lives, and if you don't forgive them, they can become overwhelmed with so much sorrow that they can't even handle it. So just forgiving them can impact somebody's life so fully that you really should make forgiveness a priority in your life, that you're forgiving people constantly. So if you aren't practicing forgiveness to those around you, they can become sorrowful if you do not. And you definitely don't want somebody to become sorrowful because of you. So definitely practice forgiveness. And then in chapter 2, verse 14 through 16. It says, but thanks be to God who is in Christ, always lead in a triumphal, procession, and through us spreads the fragrance of knowledge of him everywhere. For we are the aroma of Christ to God, among those who are being saved, and among those who are perishing. To one a fragrance from death to death, and other a fragrance from life to life. This is such a good reminder that Christians are to act differently than unbelievers, that we shouldn't be like the sinners in our lives. We should be different and set an example. And it just reminds me that we are different. We smell different, like not literally, but spiritually, we smell different. We act differently. We should dress differently than people who don't believe Jesus. So it's just such a good reminder that we are different, and don't be ashamed of that difference. God has created us equally special, and we shouldn't be ashamed of that. So then moving on to chapter 3, verse 12. Let's see. It says, since we have such a hope, we are very bold. Not like Moses, who put a veil over his face so that the Israelites may not gaze at the outlook of what was being brought to the end, but their mind were hardened. For to this day, when they read the Old Covenant, the same veil remains unlifted, because only through Christ it is taken away. These verses are talking about how since Jesus died on the cross, the Spirit can be in us. And before, they had to put a veil over themselves if they were in the presence of God. But now, Christ has died for us, so we don't have to live in fear of that. We can have his presence in us, and he can overcome us without having to put the veil on. Just such a beautiful reminder. And then verse 17 says, now the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. And we are all unveiled face, beholding the glory of the Lord, are being transformed into the same image from one degree of glory to another. For this comes from the Lord who is in the Spirit. And I just pray that the Spirit abides in you guys in this season, because it says in this verse that where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. And now we have freedom to experience God's glory fully without having to put that veil on. Because of what he did, we can feel his glory in the full. So because of his sacrifice, we were able to do that. So I just want today just to be a reminder to be different, and don't be like the rest of the world who dress differently or act differently or say different things. We don't want to be like that. We want to set examples. So I just encourage you guys to do that in this season and throughout your life, just to be different, because we are chosen. And yeah, so we shouldn't be ashamed of that. So I hope that gave you guys encouragement for the day, and I hope you have a great day.